What's up, everybody? Welcome to It Just Means More Football and Coffee, and also the Masters, because it is Masters Week. So we're excited to be here. Took a little week off, needed to rest and refresh. I hit the coastline for a little bit. Craig, what's going on? How we doing this morning? What you sipping out of? What's in your cup?
I've got the propaganda this morning, World's Best Dad, approved by the mouse down in Florida.
The mouse. I'm glad that you're supporting the mouse because I think our discussion this morning may upset the mouse a little bit, but
it's okay.
We'll see what we can do.
As long as he continues the propaganda, we're good. What about you? What you got?
Yeah, exactly. I'm drinking. I was actually going to save this for whenever we get Memphis Spence on, but I'll bring it back out. One of my favorite bands is from Memphis. They're kind of a, low level, no name alternative band called the band Camino. But one of their lines in one of their songs references a barbecue place called Duke's, and it's on Main in Memphis. So that's my mug today.
Our buddy Memphis, that was one of the spots that he suggested when I was there a couple of years ago. But unfortunately, when you're leaving at 5:30 in the morning from the hotel to get down to Oxford and then go down to Starkville, not getting in until 2 o'clock in the morning, there's not much time for Memphis barbecue. So
yeah, it's not necessarily open at 5:30 a.m. Right?
No.
Hey,
no.
Let's jump into our main course, because I think that we have something, speaking of barbecue, really meaty to discuss this morning. The Athletic released a week ago a piece about a sports organization called College Sports Tomorrow. And there's some different, presidents of universities, execs that are a part of this board, and so on and so forth. And what they're proposing is a 64-team Super League. And so I want to play into it for just a minute. I don't think it's really realistic in the way that they presented it. However, we have been banging the drum here at It Just Means More Football and Coffee. Banging the drum that this is inevitable. We're going here. This SEC, Big Ten, NFC, AFC style situation. The hang up between you and I is who gets in and who doesn't, and why do we even want these teams? I think, to their point,
why do you want these teams is I think a more fair comparison of our argument. Why do you want these? I don't want these teams.
I want them because I don't want to lose tradition, and I think that tradition is a hallmark and a cornerstone of college football. And if you lose certain teams out of the picture, we're already seeing this. Oregon State and Washington State. It's a tragedy what's happening. Just to have them relegated, and we get to that too, to the G whatever 6, 5, 4, however many they're going to be when all this is said and done.
Everybody else, I think, is the accurate term now.
That's exactly what it is. So if we do 64, I like the format of 32-team SEC, we'll call it 32-team Big Ten, and then the top 8, so the top quarter of each one would make a 16-team playoff, and you play it out from there. Your thoughts on just the concept of 64 and how that would play out?
We are in an existential crisis. Quoth West Virginia President Gordon Gee. You know who I didn't hear in your story? No SEC or Big Ten. So you know how I think about this. It ain't gonna happen. It's all pie in the sky. I love the idea. Like, well, the thing that I love about this new idea and this proposed idea is it's going to make it could make college sports regional again, and as opposed to Conference USA. I mean, the Big Ten, whatever, how they're going across there. I do think that is a pretty cool option and an opportunity. But as we talked about with our buddy Casey a couple of weeks ago, there's just not the money. And when I'm not hearing from Sankey or Petiti, I'm just waiting.
Yeah, I think that we're waiting right now. I completely agree with your point. I think that eventually we get to something that looks like this when Sankey, and we'll throw Petiti in for the sake of argument, but really Sankey works out the pieces to get the money in place. Because eventually it appears that we're going, like, let's say that Florida State and Clemson get out. So Last Word has great coverage. Here's a shameless plug, right? Because we both write for them. Great coverage of the FSU ACC case right now. Follow along on Twitter. It's being live tweeted throughout the case, but then you're going to get a full article recap, the end of proceedings and those sorts of things. You have some great stuff come out on Tuesday of this week. You guys will be getting this on the weekend. So go back and look through that if you haven't caught up on the details. But let's say FSU and Clemson get out.
Right. Yep.
You jailbreak the ACC. Things start to slide one way or the other. Because I heard somebody say this the other day, and I think this is a great point, and Casey kind of alluded to this a little bit too. I think if the Big Ten takes Florida State and Clemson, the SEC is then going to make a move for Florida State and Clemson if the Big Ten shows interest. I think that
we're not going to go after the girl until someone else shows interest in the girl.
Right. So they're doomed. I think Florida State's in trouble if the Big Ten goes, man, we're not really interested. Now, I don't think they're going to do that because that's not been Petitti's track record. But if he does that, then both conferences stand pat and don't go after them. Then then you're Notre Dame. Without
I saw something a couple weeks ago on Twitter where it was like Florida State to the Big 12, and I'm like, oh man, there's your backslide there. Like there's
exactly.
There's doomsday, right? Like, are you going independent if you're Florida State, or are you going to the Big 12?
Absolutely. And so I think if you do, also fair warning, here's your endpoint to cut this audio. Can you hear it? You can't?
No. What is it?
Oh, that's phenomenal. The garage is opening because my wife is leaving to take my daughter to school.
Oh, we're fine.
And I'm over the garage.
Come on. We've recorded in an auto dealer.
You're absolutely right. But I've been on calls before. It sounds like an earthquake up here. It's going to happen again in a minute, but we'll just let it go if you can't hear it. All right.
We're leaving this in, by the way. We're leaving this in. So you know what? We're pulling back the curtains so all our listeners.
That's all good. That's what we're doing, right? We're at the diner. We're drinking our coffee. We're talking ball. I think inevitably, Big Ten makes a move for Florida State and or Clemson, and so then the SEC gets involved. It's going to landslide because I said this before. The Big Ten is going to build come hell or high water. They're going to just keep adding names and brands if possible. And if
a lot
the
of mouths
SEC,
to feed, bro, Rob, like, are you going to, like, they're already getting what Oregon and Washington's already got a 50% discount. I mean, what Clemson and is Clemson and Florida State coming in at 25%? Like again, it's like, I'm just struggling. Like, I get it. They're going to break away, but like, is Sankey going to bring anybody in at a discount? Because again, if you are the number one conference, if it just means more, you are paying top dollar. Sankey already said to the Mouse, you want 9 SEC games, you're going to pay for 9 SEC games, which is why we're still at 8 this year and next. That's my biggest hang up. And I know I keep beating that dead horse, but it's like, who's ponying up the money? Like, North Carolina, Virginia, Clemson?
Maybe.
Maybe.
But
I just.
But if the SEC is at 16, the Big Ten is at 18 right now. So let's say you add Florida State and Clemson, and then if the SEC wants to just stay where they're at, then the Big Ten is going to go for Virginia and UNC. So then you're at 22. At what point does the Big Ten become so big that Sankey has to make a move?
You trade Vanderbilt for Ohio State. You say you can take Vanderbilt.
I want to get to that. I want to get to that in a minute. All right. So for the sake of argument.
Yep.
Let's say we're going to 64 team.
Okay.
232 super conference situation.
Yep.
So you're currently sitting at, like I said, at 16 and 18 SEC Big Ten. All right. If we add in the Big 12, that's 16 teams.
Mm-hmm.
We add in the ACC, which is 17, plus Notre Dame, which is 18. We're at 68.
Yep.
That means 4 teams have to go in order to get us down to 64. Your thoughts? And for the sake of argument, I can see you looking at the doc. For the sake of argument, right now, you can't eliminate current SEC or Big Ten teams. I'm going to reserve that argument for just a minute. it's all addition. Excuse me. So you're looking at
So
ACC.
I need to cut 4 teams from the Big 12 and the ACC.
Correct.
Stanford,
Okay.
Cal,
Okay.
Cincinnati, Iowa
He's
State.
thinking. All right. So Cincinnati, Iowa State, Stanford,
And Cal.
Cal. I'm
Yep.
for SMU, Cincinnati as well, Iowa State, and I would hate to see it, but I'm just going to call it Kansas State.
Little Apple. Little Apple's gone.
Yeah.
Why did you
Yeah.
cut SMU? That's what I want to know. Is like, so again, if we're talking dollars and cents, why are you cutting SMU? Because we know the Pony Express got some cash.
Well, they do because they're on the discount now. They are in the SEC on
They're
their
on the
own.
free
I mean,
plan.
the ACC.
They're tagging along.
Yes. Yes. I just
They-
don't see it last. That's why. That's why. They do have bukus of cash, but I just don't see how does that stand up in the long term. I think that they bet on themselves to come into the ACC, but if they prove themselves valuable, then I think that they are banking on getting a slice of the pie if they can compete at the level they think they can. I'm just thinking if I'm
Mhm.
Petiti and Sankey, go back to your argument, and I'm looking at the array of Texas schools, somebody's got to drop.
Everything's
I
bigger
mean, you
in
have
Texas.
SMU,
I would throw
Baylor.
Boston College into my list even. Like maybe even Iowa State, Boston College is another one. Like
They're on my next list.
it's here's the thing. Oh, like I like the Texas schools. Like it's interesting. Like there's passion down there. Like
I like the Texas schools too.
no, you
But
don't. You cut
so
SMU.
many.
You know what? I'm gonna call Andrew and be like I'm gonna be like Rob doesn't like Texas schools. He's gonna cut
You can
Texas
call him and
Tech.
tell him that. You can call him and tell him that. Just don't tell him that in our next round of cuts to get down to 48, I originally cut Texas Tech and put them back in. I made a swap.
Oh my gosh, who am I hosting with? It's hard, but like here at the end of the day, it's like even like as you look at your adding and you look at the logistics of it, it's from a Big Ten perspective, from an SEC perspective. Clemson moves the needle. Florida State moves the needle. I think Louisville's in. I think Louisville. Make sure I say it right. Don't not Louisville.
You got it. You got it.
Miami is interesting. You know, those Texas schools are interesting, but like outside of that, like maybe Arizona State. I don't know, like Utah, but like it's just more mouths to feed. Like you know what I mean? Like it's in theory, like
yeah, but inevitably, are we not going to have more mouths to feed? Because here's the thing:
ask Washington State and Oregon State if we need to have more mouths to feed.
If Sankey and Petiti break off and we have a grand SEC Big Ten,
yep.
what are we pushing the number up to? And how irrelevant does the rest of college football become? That's really my question. I'm dreaming of 64 because going to 48, which I think is the number, if you have two super conferences, going to 48, you lose so much more of the schools that are currently in the college football landscape. Because let's be honest, if we drop them down to the everyone else or category, they're done. What are we hearing from them?
So this is my question. What if we're gonna go to 80 teams or whatever the heck it is? What if we go total Game of Thrones and we actually go to the Premier League and we have four sections, top 20. We don't have Big Ten AC. We don't have Big Ten SEC. We have here's your top 20 teams. Here's 21 to 40, 41 to 60, 61 to 80, and then top two move up. Bottom, and again, you find out, who's going to climb from the top. To me, I think there's an opportunity for money. You're going to get fans and you're going to get colleges that are going to be pissed because they're not in that top rung. But you're also going to get coaches in teams that are going to slide down and you're going to slide out. And I think it makes for compelling television. To me, like that's where you have it, and it can be really, I think, pretty damn interesting. What do you think?
That's
Yeah,
chaotic if
hundred
you are a
percent
school
is but
that drops
so
down.
what you have to do with that? Again, I'm going to bring back the dollars and cents because that's my thing. More money, more problems, as a wise poet once said.
Of course.
You have a base level of everybody gets X number of dollars, and then each division goes up, and you stack it
Yep.
that way.
Yep.
But damn, would that be fun? Like if you're thinking about it from a compelling standpoint, it's fun up at the top, but it's even more fun in those 60 because now we're arguing. Like and again, I don't know how
But
you
we're definitely
separate it.
arguing.
Yeah, but like you're arguing, it's compelling, and you wonder after a while, like the Premier League gets all of the hot air over and over across the pond, but like you're gonna get those interesting shots. Maybe SMU Pony Express goes for number 4 all the way up to the top or something like that. I think it's
They are a
interesting.
great example. They are a great example for your dollars and cents argument. You just said, your money's going to be tiered as well, right? So you're going to have a baseline, and you're going to have different stuff in each category and amounts that you're going to get. That's where people are going to get really pissed off because you're going to get somebody that's an SEC team currently that has been an SEC team for decades and been riding the gravy
Vanderbilt.
train in Mississippi State. And they're going to get to a point where they're in the third tier and now they're disadvantaged.
Yep.
Excuse me. You see what I'm saying? Like, imagine the uproar. What if it's Oxford?
Bite your tongue.
You know what I mean?
Bite your tongue.
But like, where do you
Joey
put them?
Chestnut. No, I get it. Listen, I get it.
But if you have an SMU, if you have an SMU, then you can bankroll yourself out of that problem. But there's a lot of schools that aren't
more interesting, wouldn't it?
Exactly. Because you're going to be moving up and down levels.
Yeah.
The other thing is like, what would be the chaos in the initial seeding of the whole thing?
How do you rank that?
That's where it would go bizarre. Like, it would just be nuts because you would have a team like an Ole Miss in the landscape of all of college football.
Where's Auburn? Is Auburn tier 2 or are they tier 3?
You land in the top tier. You land in the top tier or the second one.
Yep.
Woo. That gets interesting really quick.
I'd want boots on the ground at Tumors for that announcement to find out what's going on. I don't know how you separate it. Because you're gonna get like, here's a question, ready? You're gonna laugh. Is Iowa tier 1? For as god awful as their offense is, look, I get it. I know you're sick, but if you look at results, you look at Big Ten championship appearances, you look at overall record, I bet you they are fringe top. And oh my gosh, imagine Iowa, like an old Outback Bowl special, right? Iowa in tier 1, Auburn in tier 2, like just people just losing their blooming onion.
You're gonna get the split. You're gonna get the split of 20 to 21,
100%,
or 19 to 20, or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like 40 to 41. Well, all of those arguments are just gonna be nuts.
And how do you rank? How do you rank it? Like, trying to do rosters. I mean, as well as I do. You cover South Carolina with Georgia's like, okay, you got a roster. We're set. We're going into spring ball. Now, we're going to hit chaos button again when the transfer portal comes out. How does that affect it? Like,
right. I've chosen not to do any roster breakdowns until after next week.
I'm just trying
The
to make
only,
sure everyone. Listen, I'm just trying to make sure everyone's following the speed limits. So I'm trying to wait on
that's
that one.
fair. That's fair. That's
Oh
fair.
wait, hang on.
That's fair. Hey,
Someone's clutching the pearls on Facebook.
absolutely. You know, might want to stay away from the hunker when you're driving too. That would probably be a good idea down there.
You
But
know.
or everywhere actually. You know, that would be that's a pretty national law. Okay, so to get us to 48, just for the sake of argument, then we're gonna move on. I want to tell you what I have.
Yep.
You can respond how you want to respond. But to get us to 48, so I cut my 4, which is SMU, Cincinnati, Iowa State, Kansas State. That gets you to 64. I gotta cut another
12.
well, I guess I only cut another 12. So I didn't cut it all the way down because that was a little bit of a struggle. So I'll give you the
Math is
next 12
hard.
that I'll cut. I'll give you the next 12 I'll cut.
Yep.
Wake Forest. This is the ACC cuts. Wake Forest, Duke, Syracuse. I have Stanford and Cal here in this tier, and Boston College.
Yep.
Then on the Big 12 side, Baylor, UCF, Houston, Oklahoma State, TCU, and Arizona State. That hurts me.
You see, I
Because
don't like Houston. Well,
that doesn't hurt.
Houston's been screwed forever. They finally just got thrown a bone by going to the Big 12, but like
That one doesn't hurt me as much. Oklahoma State, Baylor, Arizona State, those hurt me a little more. Those hurt me a little more. And honestly, I think on the ACC side, Duke hurts me the worst because well, it depends on how we're discussing this. Because if it's college sports tomorrow, which was the organization named in the athletic piece, the name in general indicates that this is beyond football. But if we're cutting Duke from football, like, okay. If we're cutting Duke from top level sports in general, and you lose lacrosse and basketball, then it's a whole nother discussion.
Yeah. And this is what this is why all the sports are siloed, because even like if I look at lacrosse,
Yep.
It's completely different.
Yep.
I mean, but like Houston, Houston, TCU, I just I feel the pain there for like I don't know. I just
in the cuts from the Big 12, you have Cincinnati and TCU, 2 playoff teams that are now taken out completely.
Texas A&M on there? They're not a playoff team.
No, I made the argument. I made the argument that this wasn't Premier League.
Yeah.
And we couldn't remove. I mean, Dan Wetzel would say that that's where we're headed. I don't know that we're going there as fast as he thinks.
Yeah.
Where Vandy and Rutgers getting chopped. That's fine. That's just slippery, man.
You took Country Roads. You kept Country Roads, though. You kept Country Roads.
They're a top 10 all-time program in terms of wins.
West Virginia is?
Yeah.
Playing in the everybody else's conference.
I can't do it. I can't get rid of them.
I can't.
Maybe I'm overselling. Maybe it's top 25.
Yeah, it's hard. So I think this is the problem. If you look at the tiers of college football, we have an idea who that 10 is. 11 to 20, 25 is probably not that big of a difference. 26 to 60, negligible. Like it's and I think this is what your entire exercise shows, which means it's more fun, and this is why we need to go to the Premier Soccer League. 4 tiers, Game of Thrones, Iowa number 20, Auburn 21. Who stays? Who goes? Let's get it.
Okay, fact check. West Virginia is 22nd all-time in college football wins.
Did you say they were top? Did you say they were top 10?
Yeah, I moved them up a little bit too far. But
how many peach ice creams did you have?
I'm gonna move them up higher than that because Ivy League schools are included here. So Yale and Harvard are top 10, and I'm not including them.
What do you got against the smart kids?
level of competition. They've been playing
They don't
longer
have
than
scholarships, okay? Listen, they actually have to go to class and study.
I have
My
nothing against
my
them when they
lacrosse bias is
transfer.
showing, by the way, right now with my
I have
argument.
nothing against them when they decide to transfer for their 5th year to an SEC school.
Oh, has that happened?
Yeah.
I know it does.
Uh, so
It's hard.
so just okay.
Yeah. It's
We're off the rails. Rabbit trail. But Yale, Harvard, Penn, Princeton, all top 15.
Smart kids find a way. By the way,
Austin,
total since we're already off the rails, can I say one quick thing? I love the fact that the
of
Ivy
course.
League plays on Friday nights, during the college football season. Like, because let's be honest, who's going to check into ESPN Plus to watch any of those guys? But it's cool. It's cool to have them there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
I'd
that's
rather have
awesome.
them there. I'd rather have them there than the Big 12 matchup that sometimes gets slotted there.
Big Ten,
Because I
and
still
then
think
the new Big Ten matchups, the Big 12, Big Ten are going to be there.
yeah, and I appreciate my high school football on a Friday night as well. And so I don't want to see that run off the map because we're going to expand college football schedules and start making Friday nights a staple.
I see. I wonder if like, man, we are off the rails. I wonder if that hurts the colleges because like people aren't going to be able to travel. You know, you can have that travel on the Saturday, but like those weeknight games, you're not going to get as much. So
Yeah, definitely. It 100% does. All right, look, there we go. We're going to 64. You and I have made the decisions. We agreed on Iowa State and Cincinnati, so they're doomed to
I don't
never
think we
Neverland.
agreed on
So
64. I think you made me agree on 64.
oh, it's fine. We've made it. 64 it is. And we agreed to cut both of those schools, so we can at least say they're done for.
I love you.
We'll
I
be
love
back
you,
in
Houston.
yeah, I don't know about that one. We'll be back in just a second with more. It just means more football and coffee. And we're back with It Just Means More Football and Coffee. Rob Williams, Craig McMichael. I don't think I said that from the jump. I'm still on beach brain. I'm still out here toes in the sand a little bit. But anyway, yeah, I'm Rob. He's Craig. We're here just about every week with you Saturday mornings, cup of Joe and some breakfast items. Hope that you're just chilling, hanging out at the diner, talking ball with us. That's the feel we want to create for you. It's time for the last word. Both of us are writers for Last Word on Sports, Last Word on College Football. You can see the G on his chest. If you're watching on YouTube, Craig covers Georgia and the SEC, and I'm here in South Carolina covering the Gamecocks. And so we want to talk a little bit SEC. Auburn headed away from Under Armour to Nike. Some strange uproar about this on Twitter. I saw Auburn fans upset that they're going to Nike. I don't understand it. Do we think that Under Armour sets you apart some kind of way? It's an inferior product. It just is what it is. Why are we still there?
At least they're not Adidas.
I'd take Adidas over Under Armour. At this point,
you have not been sponsored by Adidas like I have when I was a high school coach for a local program. The Adidas stuff, none of it fits right. I don't care if they ever give us an NIL dollar. Nope.
I was an
I'll
Under
take
Armour.
Under Armour.
I was Under Armour sponsored high school, so I played Under Armour basketball. Feet came out of shoes, Zion Williamson style. Then I've experienced, you know, almost 2 decades of Under Armour at South Carolina, and it's not good. It gets blamed for a lot of injuries. They cannot get garnet right. They change it every year. That doesn't make any sense to me. Why does somebody not have like colors are coded? Somebody give them a code.
Give them the hex
I don't
code.
understand how we don't have the number. I don't know why we don't have a number for this color.
No offense.
It should be that simple.
Do you know the worst example of Under Armour? Maryland. How is Maryland not the Oregon of Under Armour? Like
it absolutely.
Maryland, it's right there, but like this is again lacrosse tangent, but like Maryland's flag is a hot mess, and the colors in the University of Maryland kind of just get it, but they can never figure it out. Like there's just too much going on. You got red, you got black, you got yellow, you got white, you got but Under Armour never gets it right. But like I agree with you, like it just looks inferior. And here's the deal: there was a thing a couple years ago where coaches were talking about guys would not come to a school if they were an Adidas school or an Under Armour school. They would want to go
Yep.
if they're a Nike school. Now, it's interesting. Now we have the Nike Jumpman. I think they're still kind of one and the same. But yeah, I mean, what is the uproar from Auburn? Like, why are these people so upset about going away
I don't know
from?
why they want to go. I think that some people have a perspective that it sets you apart. I don't think Under Armour sets you apart at all anymore because it's inferior. I don't think that it performs as well. I think that the cleats are heavy. They don't fit well. It's a whole thing. Like from a performance standpoint, you can't beat Nike. From a South Carolina standpoint, and if I would take this argument in my direction, I think Jumpman sets you apart a little bit because you have a little bit. You talk about kids wanting to go somewhere. There's some flash with it, right?
Yep,
And so you're never gonna outdo North Carolina in those terms.
yep.
But you have a handful of schools that are repping the Jumpman.
Mhm,
If I'm in South Carolina, I've heard this argument. This is not my point. I can't take credit for it, but I'm using Dawn Staley's uh, acumen and
mhm.
her pull and her clout to say, hey, we're getting in on this Jumpman contract so that we have something that sets us apart.
Mhm.
I don't think Under Armour does that. That's just me. I don't know what Auburn's uproar is. It's crazy.
They're so mad they don't have a quarterback. Let's be honest.
We got one of them. Ashford's gonna back up Sellers in Columbia. So
Oh, he's going to help you beat Akron. And
yeah, I think he's gonna have a role, but I won't get into it any deeper than that. It
well, hang
seems
on.
he's gonna have a.
How many schools has Robbie Ashford played? Is that his fifth?
This is his third. This
This
is his
is
third.
third.
Yeah,
All
yeah,
right.
it's
Well,
his
you
third.
got it.
But now he's the old guy. Now he's the vet. So he sounds so much. I think he sounds different when you listen to him in a press conference. It's weird. All right, it's Masters Week. You're gonna tune in, watch
I
any
am.
golf this weekend? You got that?
I am. I'm going to be in Toronto this weekend. I got a lacrosse. I've got a couple of games in Toronto. The far great north, and it's going to be cold, rainy, and sleet. Perfect Canadian weather. But yeah, I'll be tuning in. We'll be streaming as we drive out there this weekend, and then as we drive home Saturday night. And then also we have the G Day. So I think it's always cool those two intermix. But yeah, I'm excited for the Masters. I love all their social media content. I mean, to me, they take advantage of that week and they just blow it up. So.
There is nothing like Sunday at the Masters. I remember 3 years ago, I moved into this house. I got my Samsung frame TV hung just in time. My wife was actually out of town that weekend to watch the Masters, and it was incredible just to sit there and see the crystal clear images. But they don't do it justice. I worked fresh out of college. I worked at a church that was about 30 minutes outside of Augusta. And so in this beautiful little quaint town, they're like 30 years behind the rest of society. It feels like Mayberry there, like it's a tiny little town. And so all of the senior adults in the town have had week passes to the Masters since like the 50s. They've had them forever. They're just in their family. And so every year for, 70 years, they've gone. Their kids have gone, their grandkids have gone. And so they'll still go Thursday, Friday, go in, get a pimento cheese sandwich, get the $2 coffee, the ice cream and cookie. A lot of them that I knew had, girls that were in high school and college, they would hit the shop, rack up because you can't buy that stuff anywhere else, drop a
You're spending
band
some
in
money
there.
too. You're spending some money. That stuff's not cheap.
That's what I'm saying. I see people go in and drop $1,000 easy and come back out. But that's what they would do. They would spend the money. They would turn around and come out, and they would say, "Hey, Rob, do you want to go in and see the Masters today? We got 2 tickets. The girls are going to go in and shop for a few minutes. If you just want to meet, they're going to go in for like 2 hours, maybe watch a hole or two, go into the shop and come back out. You just meet them in the parking lot. They'll swap passes with you so you can go in for the rest of the day." Absolutely, I'm all for it. So for a couple of years there, I was golden. I was set up and got a cool opportunity to go in and spend a lot of time at the Masters. Augusta National is it. I said that sitting back, brand new TV hung on the wall, the flowers, aiming corner,
Yep.
the azaleas are everywhere. It doesn't do it justice. It's perfect in there. It's incredible. And you have to check your phone at the gate. You can't take it in. If you somehow get it in and they see it, then you lose your passes for life. So I couldn't do that to the people who were graciously giving them to me for free. Like you literally check it like a coat, so you can't get in the gate. It's
But
a
here's the
different
here's the
experience.
cool part about that. You get to actually experience it because that's like one of the most frustrating parts. And
100%.
I know I listen. I know you're a young dad, and just like me, you always want to snap photos, but sometimes just keep the phone in the pocket and just embrace the experience because you're gonna take that all in. So I mean I love that. It's a little bit old school. It's a little bit different, but I'm jealous of you because that's beautiful. I mean, like it's just you look at it, you're like, yeah, that'd be something else.
It's different. It's different, and it's cool because living there and spending a lot of time around it. You're on this 4-lane highway, and you've got your shops. You got your Sam's Club.
Hmm.
You got your Outback Steakhouse. You got Buffalo Wild Wings. You got Cookout and all the like fast food places, and you turn off and you just walk into an oasis. So it's literally right there. And it's just and it feels like you portaled into another world because you come out of shopping centers and fast food restaurants and chain
Yep.
steakhouses and you walk right into just absolute pristine landscape, everything, no technology. It's crazy.
And you can only
It's
golf there.
crazy.
Well, you
Yeah.
can only golf there for a couple months, right? It's like spring, and then they
Yeah.
don't let you golf in the summer either, do they?
Yeah. It's very restricted. And of course, getting in to play there is restricted anyway. Like
Yeah.
this is still everything about it. They keep it in tip top shape. That's for sure. And that's more than a full-time job to get it to look the way that it does. It's insane. You
Yeah.
look around at the rest of the people's plants on their little gardens in front of their front porch, and it doesn't look like that at that time of year. I can tell you that. So they're doing a lot of
They got
special
those
care to get
azaleas
the
iced down, right? They like ice the azaleas so the
yeah,
azaleas pop just at the right moment and everything like that. I think
absolutely.
that's fantastic. That's
It's
good.
crazy.
Good. Well, hey,
All
what do
right,
you got?
well, it's
What
been
do you
a
got
great
this
time.
week? What do you got this week?
Um, I have it came out Thursday morning at 9 apiece looking at the defensive line for South Carolina, the two coaches that are um in charge of that interior, exterior kind of little personnel things that have been added. But I didn't really get into depth chart and too much personnel because everything's subject to change. It could be mad. It could be crazy. I don't think we're going to see that in Columbia, but we've already got one offensive lineman in the portal. So here we go. Buckle up, everybody. What about you? What do you got in for
Well,
Athens?
I'll have a G Day recap, but we may have a returner coming back that hit the portal last year, Bear Alexander, who hit the portal last year out to USC, is
Wow.
in the portal again, and I saw someone say he's going to be at his 7th school in 7 years. It's like
Yeah, that's where we're at.
bopping from high schools to colleges, and like so, again, I had a piece last week come out or earlier this week come out about Georgia's defense. The run defense. It just wasn't elite this year. They went from top 5 to
Right.
32nd. Nice.
He's a big piece of that.
Yeah, yeah, and that could be a game changer because he definitely was something for him. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I'll get a couple of quotes from G Day. It's not going to be as exciting as last year because Carson's got obviously Carson's got the keys for 2024
Right.
Lambeau, I believe it is.
Whole lot of yeah, exactly. Whole lot of spring games happening this weekend, so we'll be back next week to talk about that and more. This has been It Just Means More Football and Coffee. I'm Rob Williams at Rob Williams GCP. He's Craig McMichael at McMichael7. We'll see you next week.
Stay classy, everyone. I still can't believe your story.